Our first story starts with, I can offer warmth to people in the winter, from r/scary stories, posted by Short Story 1. There's going to be a lot of cold people this winter due to the rising costs of energy and rising cost of everything. I can promise everyone warmth without ever having them pay me, and this warmth will keep them with them throughout the year. It's a horrible time right now, and high salaries stand so high anymore when everything is becoming too high. Some are worried that they will have to endure the cold this winter, but I say to them that I can offer them warmth without ever having them pay me. I can offer them what energy companies can't. Take Alfredo, and he was scared that he was going to suffer the winter as he couldn't afford it at all. Then Alfredo was grateful when all of a sudden he could feel warmth all around his body, and he was so thankful to me. Even in the midst of a cold day, he could feel warmth, and he even took his coat off. He was so happy, and we both danced in the middle of the cold park. Alfredo didn't needs to worry about heating bills anymore as he was warm all the times. I'm going to take out every energy company one by one. I'm going to be the biggest threat to energy companies, and because I offer warmth without burning fuels, it's a win-win situation for me. Take Gladys as well, and she is very old and she was worried that she would not sure be the winter. But ever since I gave her the ability to feel warm throughout the year, she was over the moon. She was so grateful towards me, and now she doesn't have to worry about heating bills or even freezing to death. I'm saving people here. Feeling warm in the winter is something I can provide now, and it's going to be a game changer. I'm going to help so many people now to feel warm in the winter without having to turn on any heating. I am a great person.
Todd McApplesby has been arrested for spreading a viral disease to other people while knowing how harmful it is. The people he infected had succumbed to a high fever straight away and died 24 hours later, which is the warmth he was talking about. Gladly, there is a known cure and other medications to prevent such a viral disease infecting you. If you are infected, the high fast fever will be the first imminent clue that you are infected. Just being close to someone who has the virus can infect you. Be wary.
This story is, I see my reflection in the mirrors moving on its own, from r/Creepypasta, written by Wolfmask87. Hello there. I need help. You see, I have found myself in a predominant. You see, I am 14, and this has been going on for months. Let me start from the beginning. At the beginning of the year, I dated this girl named Courtney, in my grade at school. She was beautiful, and I absolutely loved her, and had wanted to date her for a while, and finally got the balls to ask her out, and she said yes. The first 2 months were magical, and she also gave me my first kiss. But by the beginning of the 3rd month of our relationship, something happened. We went to a friend's party, I'll call him Donovan, and we got a bit drunk, and in my drunken state, I kissed her best friend who came with us. I didn't remember the event because of my drunken state, but Courtney was still somewhat sober enough to remember what had happened. The next day, Courtney confronted me about it, and I admitted that I did not remember because I was drunk and that I was sorry. She didn't really care that I was drunk and yelled in the middle of the hallway, I cheated on her. A few of the fellow students tried to chime in and tell her that she was overreacting because I was drunk, although at the same time they did criticize me for kissing another girl while I was in a relationship. The conversation had gotten so bad that she started to call me names, and in anger, I called her a bitch. That was my biggest mistake, because she looks at me angry and says that she'll put a curse on me. I didn't think much about it, and I did attempt to apologize to her at lunchtime, but she just avoided me. The next day I was getting ready for school. I noticed that my reflection in the mirror was looking at me while I was walking past. In shock, I turned my head, but then my reflection would go back to normal while I was looking at it. This happened all over school. Bathrooms, reflection of windows, etc. I put 2 and 2 together, and that night was a nightmare. The next day after this, I went to Courtney and I told her what had been happening and that I'm sorry, and I begged her to remove the curse. Courtney smiled evilly and told me no. I told her that I would do anything, and she said that I need to give her $1 million. Of course I told her that I don't have $1 million, and there has to be something else. She then commented, "Then you shouldn't have called me a bitch." I apologized again, but she just slapped me and told me never to see her again. After she avoided me, and I kept trying to get her to remove the curse, but she pretended that I didn't exist. I am now alone and afraid with nobody to help me. What have I gotten myself into, and how can I stop it? Our first story is Rebuilding Humanity, from r/Creepypasta, written by user Empty Stitches. The Watson family lived somewhere in Pennsylvania. Robert Watson was away on a work trip in Maine. During that time, Vicky Watson was bringing their son Robin Watson home from his drama club. It was about 9 o'clock and dark outside. Regardless, Robin had energy. He was rambling on about something, while Vicky was paying attention to him more than the road. Due to that, she didn't notice her red light and hit another car. As soon as Robert got the call, he left his hotel and drove back to Pennsylvania. He rushed to the hospital and went to Robin's room. Robin was in terrible condition. His forehead had dent in it. His right shoulder was dislocated and right leg broken. His ear was barely hanging on. His hair was pulled back. Robin was hooked up to a ton of machines, barely alive. Robert hugged him and ripped off the machines. Robin died minutes later. Robin said he hadn't meant to and was believed, keeping him free from any consequences besides a dead son. Later that night, after Robert had left, a fire was started somewhere in the hospital due to an oil spill. Everyone was evacuated, but no one wanted to come back. They believed it was Robin's spirit, looking for revenge. Understaffed, the hospital shut down. 4 years later, Robert found himself back at the hospital. He went inside and found his way back to Robin's room. He stared at the bed for a bit and was about to leave, but the door was stuck shut. As he fought to get it open, he saw something in the corner of his eye. A creature with patched up skin, a broken right leg, dislocated right arm, hollow black eyes with glowing red pupils, left ear barely hanging on, and shaggy black hair. Robert knew immediately that it was Robin, but it wasn't his son. He grabbed stuff and started to throw things at it. It just continued to limp towards him, syringe in hand. In the syringe was glowing blue liquid. Robert backed himself into a corner. It grabbed his head, jerked it to the side, plunged the syringe in his neck, and injected the liquid into him. Blood started to shoot out of every hole in his body, like a full blast hose. It hurt like hell. He managed to get Robin's name out. It just laughed crazily at him. It's Xynax now. It snapped his neck. Humanity is such a waste. It's my job to rebuild it.